Okay, good morning, class 12th. So let's continue with the chapter Iman's Tries a No Level. Now we are just about to end this chapter. We had just reached to the climax for this. Like we have understood that how Evans did or Evans made the clever steps, and Governor and his team started searching him. And finally, even Governor reached to that hotel where Evans hid himself, right? So very interesting. We are just about to end. So let's try to understand what exactly happened now. Evans was visibly shaken. He sat down slowly in the only chair the small room could offer and held his hand between his hands. For several minutes, there was utter silence. When Evans noticed Governor in his room, he was shocked. And he just sat on that chair, and as he was already shaken, and for a few minutes there was no sound. Not even Evans said something, neither Evans nor Governor basically. Finally he spoke. It was that bloody correction slip, I suppose. So Evans said, might be with that correction slip you got to know where I am. Well, the governor failed to mask the deep satisfaction in his voice. There are a few people who knew a little German. So he tried to explain him that there are few people who knew German. Basically means because governor also knew few things or a few things about German language. So he was saying that even anyone, or basically he tried to say, he was pointing to himself only, that he knew German, so he was able to understand few things. That's why he said only were few people who knew little German. Slowly, very slowly, Evans relaxed. Now he was coming into his calm position. He was beaten and he knew it. He sat up at last and managed to smile ruefully. Now he smiled but ruefully. Ruefully means with regret. He regretted. It wasn't really a mistake. You see, we hadn't been able to fix up any hotel. So Evans is basically telling to governor that we were not able to fix any hotel where to hide basically. But we could have worked that some other way. No. The really important thing was for the phone to ring just before the exam finished. Very important. So he disclosed this thing to governor. Important thing because our hotel was not fixed. So the important thing was that the phone it just ring just before the exam finished. The phone call was there to get everyone out of the way, because that phone call was there to make other people engage in the other activities, to get everyone out of the way for a couple of minutes. So we had to know exactly when the exam started, didn't we? So now in return only he raised the question to him. So it was a hint given to the person who was in the side of Evans only. And like a fool, I presented you with that little piece of information on a plate. So he said, so I'm like a fool only. I presented you that corrections. Basically through that only you got that piece of information. Little piece although. Well, somebody did. So, you see, sir, that correction slip killed two little birds with a single stone. That information on a plate basically mentioned by governor. He said, basically, I had given you that only information. So now Iman said, somebody did. So you see, sir, that correction slip killed two little birds with a single stone, didn't it? The name of the hotel for me and the exact time the exam started are for. So he said, with that correction slip, there were two things basically happened. I got to know the hotel name, and other person also got to know that exactly when the time exam started, because the further steps were that procedure was related to that only. Governor noted. It's a pretty common word. Good job, it is pretty common, sir, or I would never have known where to come to, would I? So said, if there would be no call or correction slip, I would not be able to understand where to go. Nice name though, Zamgoljan Lowan. So he said that, how did you know which golden line it was? There's hundreds of them. So with this governor, as he knew little German, he came to know about golden line. So Iman asked, how do you know that I'm in this golden line hotel only? There are a number of hotels like this, with the names like this. Same as you, Evans. Index number 313, center number 271, remember? So he said that with this 6 digits code, 313 and 271, I got to know that where you are. I already mentioned you that this investigating officers and all, they came to know with these, they know these kinds of things, they are strategies how to conclude or how to come to any particular thing. So he said about it that 6 figures, and if you take an ordnance survey map for Oxfordshire, you would find that 6-figure reference 313 lands you bang in the middle of Chipping Norton. So with this code, I got to know that You are in the middle of chipping Norton. So governor used his mind and he calculated with this thing. Yeah, you're right. We have supposed that you have run to the Newbury. So Ivan saw that we thought that you would run to this place. So governor said that yes, we did that also. That question paper, Ivans, could you really understand all that German? Could hardly. So now governor raised a question from Ivans that do you really understand the whole German thing in that paper? Because I was not able to understand. Of course not. I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just opened it through a few spanners in the works. Sort of muddle everybody a bit. So obviously, I don't know the German language, but I made the plan how to run away. Governor stood up. Now, governor raised a question related to the blood because remember he was inside with a full of blood at that time. He said, "Tell me one thing before we go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? So how you got that blood into that cell?" Ivan suddenly looked a little happier. "Clever, sir. Very clever. That was ought to get a couple of pins of blood into a cell. When there is none there to start off with, and when the invigilator, shall we say, get searched before he comes in." "Yes, sir, you can well ask about that, and I do not know if I ought to tell you. After all, I might want to use that particular." So he said, when invigilator was checked, even at that time there was the blood. And I'm not sure that whether I should disclose this thing to you or no, because it can be helpful to me later on stage also. So governor said, "Anything to do with little rubber ring for piles for up." So now governor connected. So he asked that whether that blood is having any relation with that little rubber ring because he used this ring for his piles problem. So anything related to it. So here we are just continuing. Now what Evans would reply to these things, we will understand in the next class. And now in the next class, we will finish up the last portion of the reading of this chapter. So this would be finished up. So submit the work timely without any reminders. Thank you and God bless you.